Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with the 100 girlfriends who really, 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 really love you. Last time around we had First Kiss, where basically, what were all of their names? Rentaro. Rentaro was trying to have his first kiss because he never had his first kiss because of all of his rejections. So he had to decide who he was going to have his first kiss with between Hakari and Karane. And it became a convoluted mess because he didn't really want to choose one over the other. And it became a whole thing that eventually just landed in the three of them sharing the first kiss, which also meant that Hakari and Karane kissed each other as well. So it was a lot. Anyway, and then at the end, they were at the library, and Rentaro went over to look at a book, but he crossed paths with a young girl, and sure enough, the spark went off, and he has found his next soulmate, a very small girl with an O. One with an O and one L. Small girl. So, yeah. Anyway, that's where we left off. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. Here we go. Oh boy. It's so funny because within the span of one episode, Shizuka has completely one-upped the two of them in terms of romance. No, I guess that's through no fault of their own. That the problem is that they had the goofiest romance because of the whole soulmate thing. Whereas, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like it's way more genuine between Rentaro and Shizuka, but oh, good grief. But I mean, you start throwing in fantasy allegories and stuff, and it's just like, man, how are they supposed to compete with that? How are they supposed to compete with a princess on a knight, you know? Ugh, good friggin' grief. I do love that, though. That, the last 5 minutes are, this very, very touching romantic scene between Rentaro and Shizuka of, he copied the entire fucking book in order to put it into this text-to-speech app so that she could always have, she could always just click on what she needed from the book. Not just a text-to-speech app where she could just type out what she wants to say, but specifically keep using passages from this friggin' book. And he does all of this, and she falls in love with him. He falls in love with her, and it's just this touching moment, the two of them embracing. And then hard cut to him having to explain to the other two why he wants to have Shizuka as a girlfriend too. Good job. Good job. Good grief. Thankfully, Hakari is the eternal optimist, Hakari is the eternal optimist, and is like, but even though he's fallen in love with another woman, it doesn't mean he loves us any less. And Karane is just like, what the fuck did I get myself into? Granted, I guess she did not get herself into it. He got her into it. She's been dragged into this by the love god that just had to screw everything up. Alright, so Shizuka, I mean, come on, man. I cannot deal with this. And I mean, I guess Shizuka is waifu material just by virtue of she is basically a waifu, because she's now girlfriends with Rentaro. But there is a part of me that's just like, I don't know, man. I guess she's the same age as him because they're in the same class, but still, I can't. Actually, I gotta look up Shizuka's voice Even though we don't hear it that much. I mean, we hear some of her inner thoughts a little bit, but I gotta look up her voice. Oh my god, fucking... Hang on. Not Shizuka Joestar. Dang it. And let's see. Sarah Ragsdale. That's an interesting name. No, have I not? I've not seen her in literally, or heard her voice in literally anything else. Really? Huh. Okay. Well, that happens. That happens. I don't know. She sounded... I'm gonna be honest. She sounded like Neffy from An Archdemon's Dilemma. I've referenced that a couple times on this channel. I guess not on this show specifically, but she sounded like Neffy, and she reminded me of Neffy. I gotta be honest. That has kind of grown to be my favorite waifu archetype. I guess you could say is the just sweet as can be waifus. You know, now Shizuka has the added archetype of being incredibly shy to the point that she cannot talk, you know, but still, it's just I don't know, man. But still, just the super nice, super sweet archetype. The like the Sailor Mercuries, the Neffys, like it's all there. It's just like that. I guess the Mimosa from Black Clover, that kind of archetype. Even though Mimosa is not my best girl of Black Clover, but still, it's just like that archetype has kind of grown to be one of my favorites in recent years. So I don't know, but just I want to read this book. Does this book exist? I imagine it doesn't, but I gotta know if this book actually exists. So what? How does this wiki not have? How does this wiki not have the name of the book anywhere? This wiki page does not have the name of this book anywhere. I'm assuming the book doesn't actually exist, but fuck, you got me interested. Now I want to read it. Someone needs to make this book. Someone needs to make this book so I can read it. I don't know, man. Oh boy. It is just really interesting, though, going from the story of getting Karane and Hakari to then going to the story of Shizuka, because it's just like, this just seems way more genuine and way more heartfelt and kind of, a little bit more deep. I mean, just the fact that you just get this quick flash, the classmates that are just like, oh, you can't just talk through a book your whole life. You got to talk like a normal person. And her fucking mother slapping her and calling her a fucking freak. And it's just like, the fuck is wrong with you? And it's like, thank goodness, that it's just like, and here's Rentaro, who's just the nicest guy on planet Earth, who just accepts her immediately. And it's just like, just completely accepts her for who she is immediately and loves her for who she is. But also, even just apart from Rentaro, the librarian, like, that's good at least. That there was already at least someone in her life that accepted her and accepted that she spoke through the book, So, good fucking grief, man. But it's just like, if you want... Okay, I understand wanting your child to be normal, but you have to be normal about letting them know about that. Slapping them and calling them a freak, like, motherfucker, I'm ready to cut a bitch. Like, anytime I see shit like that, I'm just like, I'm ready. I'm ready to cut a bitch. I'm ready to go to war for this fucking girl. You know what else I do like, though? That the book is an actual fucking romance novel. It's not like a shoujo manga. I don't know why I kind of like that. Like, just that little level of, no, it's an actual, which, I mean, obviously there are light novels. I'm pretty sure, like, romance and isekai just take up the entirety of the light novel, format. So So I mean, there's that too. But I mean, that looked like a fucking novel, man. I'm so terrible with novels nowadays. Like I have lost all my skills of being able to read novels. I spent like 5 years. Well, I spent 5 years after college just not reading, and now it's just like all my skills are gone. I'm trying to read a light novel, and I'm just like struggling. Well, first of all, I'm reading it on my phone, and I've got this right here. I don't have trying to read manga or a light novel on your phone, even one as big as this Pixel 7, it just doesn't work. So I do have a magnifying glass. So I will literally sit there and read. This is how I read like Kagurabachi and One Piece and stuff on my phone. And weirdly enough, right now it's literally reflecting my own face back at me. But this is literally what I do, and I have been reading a light novel on here like this. I look like such an old man trying to read this, but yes, but that is how I read. So now I've just got a nice spotlight on the page here. So no, that's not gonna burn from just a ceiling light. I could take this outside and start doing that, but I don't wanna. So anyway, but I am so terrible. Like as I'm going through this light novel, I'm just like trying to get through just one chapter, and I'm just like, my brain is not built for this anymore, Which is why actually recently I was reading. I wanted to. I'm getting more into reading. I'm reading more manga and stuff, but I wanted to read some classics. Especially recently, I had a desire to read Agatha Christie. And if you know why, you know why. If you don't, there's not much. I don't need to get into it. But so I wanted to read Murder on the Orient Express, so I got an actual graphic novel adaptation of it, and I got it physically. I got it physically, and I read through it, and I really enjoyed it in graphic novel form. And so for me, there are a lot of classics. Actually, I've got two more right here. Actually, if I can pick them up. They're right next to me because I don't have space in my room. This is also why I stopped buying physical manga and I started reading on my phone because I don't have the space nor the money for physical manga. But some stuff that I do have is this is a graphic novel of Beowulf that I'm going to read this in October because I think Beowulf should work for spooky Halloween season. And then I also have a graphic novel of The Hobbit, which I don't know how much of The Hobbit this actually is because, I mean, look at that. Look how, look at how thin this is. Like, and this is Tolkien, Tolkien fucking yammers forever. I mean, I don't know. I haven't actually read Tolkien, but, I mean, it's Tolkien. Tolkien books are big, so I'm assuming this is the whole thing, but I don't know. So, yeah, and I have not read this. I have not read Beowulf yet, but I am now a big proponent in graphic novel adaptations. I want to see way more graphic novel adaptations out there for books because there are people like me that are just like I struggle, And graphic novel reading is a form of reading, and it's either that or going to an audiobook, which I haven't tried audiobooks yet, but I do want to try that at some point. So yeah. So actually, that would be me. Is I would do this whole text to speech thing. Spent 3 fucking days, day in and day out, typing all of this into his phone. Like that's the other thing is he typed all of this into a phone. He didn't even type it on on a computer and stuff. Which, at the very least, I mean, I guess he probably just. I'm assuming Rentaro just doesn't have this, but at the very least, I would prop up my phone. And I do have a USB to USB-C, and I have a keyboard. So at the very least, I would be typing that in with a keyboard instead of typing it in with like one thumb. That's a fucking nightmare, man. But man, if this boy ain't dedicated, but that's the thing. It's like that's probably how I would be reading this book, and it's interesting too. She says, like, oh, they haven't released an ebook for this yet, and it's just like. Really? Really? In this day and age, like, it's not immediately released as an ebook? Although, Although, like, she's had this book, like, since childhood, so... I don't know. I don't know, man, but... I do kind of want to read the book now. I will try out some audiobooks for stuff. I was thinking... There's actually an audiobook... Thing is, I don't really want to pay for Audible and stuff, but there is I did see, because you can obviously go to YouTube and find a lot of, like, public domain books in audiobook form. There's an audiobook version of Dracula read by Christopher Lee. I'm definitely going to give that a listen in October, so because spooky scary stuff. So that I think that'll be pretty good. But yeah, but that, and then the graphic novel of Beowulf, which technically I did read Beowulf in high school, but I don't remember it too well, so I thought, well, a nice reread and in graphic novel form. So I'm definitely, if you're out there and you don't read novels that well either, try out the graphic novel scene, and if you can't afford it, then, you know, take a quick trip to Google and, you know, just type in read Murder on the Orient Express graphic novel free online. If you type in free online, you can find fucking anything on Google. So take that from me, a man who sails the seven seas. So anyway, but yeah, but still, like, just I'm just like, oh yeah, I like Shizuka, quite honestly. And I said, you know, I liked Hakari the most between the two of them, but it's just like, oh, I like Shizuka more now. It's just like, just immediately, and just the fact that she had a more compelling story, honestly. Like, I'm all down for goofy rom-com stuff, but it's like, they gave her an actual compelling story, and it's just like, damn, alright. But yeah, interesting stuff, very, very interesting stuff. So I guess the question now comes, like, are we going to go after number 4 in the next episode? Probably not. I imagine we're going to have, like, now we have to spend at least an episode figuring out, you gotta have the two of them getting to know Shizuka, bringing her into the fold, So, I don't know. It seems like from the intro and outro that we're only gonna do 5 this season, so we already got 3, so we gotta kind of space this out a little bit, so I don't know. We'll have to see. But that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my 100 Girlfriends reactions. There's also another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.